Anthony Davis finally made his much-anticipated return to the court last night against the Dallas Mavericks, playing his first game in over 2 months on Thursday. And look, Anthony Davis was clearly rusty, but the positive here, no lingering leg issues. It didn't look like his calf was bothering him. It didn't look like his Achilles was bothering him either. And Frank Vogel had said prior to Anthony Davis playing on Thursday in a loss against the Mavericks that he was going to be on a minute restriction around 15 minutes. AD played 17 minutes, all of them in the first half. And when Frank Vogel went up to him to say, yo, turn in your jersey, your night is over, Anthony Davis kicked the scores table. He wanted to continue to play. That tells me he's feeling pretty good, which is a great sign for the Lakers with the playoffs less than a month away. Here's what he did against the Mavericks. He looked rusty. It looked like he hadn't played in more than 2 months. He didn't have his shot. He didn't have his legs underneath him. 2 of 10, 4 points, 4 rebounds, and only a single block. But I was watching at how Anthony Davis was moving, and I thought that he was moving really well on the court, both offensively and defensively as well. And it was great to see him back because AD in the playoffs last year showed that he is a generational talent. I've long said that AD is the best number 2 option in the league, and we saw last year that he is a perfect complement to LeBron James. And as long as AD and LeBron are healthy, I think that duo is going to allow the Lakers to possibly repeat as champions. Were you happy to see Anthony Davis back on the court last night? If so, type me in the comments. I certainly was. Long awaited for Anthony Davis to return. I'm just glad the Lakers allowed him to take his time because it was great to see him back. Here's what Anthony Davis had to say about finally getting back in the purple and gold. Quote, I felt fine. My win felt better than expected. I got good looks. I missed. That comes with time and being able to get those game reps, but I felt good out there. I felt really good and could do some things that could give the team a little juice. I thought that was clear too. I know the Lakers lost in that game against the Mavericks, but you kind of saw a different spirit from the Lakers, and you saw a little bid of an energetic boost. Can you imagine what happens when LeBron comes back and these two are both 100%? I think it's going to take a little while, but AD, it's going to take him some time. That minute restriction, which is around 15 minutes, will continue to increase over the next few games and weeks, and as long as he stays healthy, this team figures to be dangerous. NBA Now is brought to you by our friends at Newsbreak. So I recently moved to Dallas, Texas at the end of February because I started with Chat Sports on March 1st. And luckily, the Newsbreak app has allowed me to make a seamless transition. Why is that? Well, if you go to chatsports.com/newsbreak, you'll see why. Because on one single feed on your iPhone or Android, you can get your local news and weather. You can get your politics, pop culture, and food. You can get your sports content as well. And basically everything that's happening from a current event standpoint, the Newsbreak app has it because it takes all of the information from all of your local news sources and plugs it in on one single feed for you. One of the other great features, if you put in your zip code, that will allow you to stay up to date with everything happening right in your neighborhood, hyper locally. So download the Newsbreak app right now by going to chatsports.com/newsbreak. Anthony Davis is back for the Lakers. LeBron James is not. But when he comes back, the Lakers figure to be very dangerous, and they could also use a boost from Dennis Schroder, who's really been struggling of late. Now, AD, it's going to take him a while to get acclimated with this team, and the Lakers, in their last 6 games, have lost 4. They've slipped a little bit in the Western Conference, going back to number 5. But Dennis Schroder, not concerned about the Lakers' struggles. He's also not concerned about his personal struggles. He thinks that, hey, I'm going to be able to get it going because a lot of the focus for opposing defenses has been on me. And when we get healthy, we as a team are also going to be able to get it going. And here's what Dennis Schroder had to say about the current state of the Lakers, because some people are saying, oh my gosh, Lakers dropping to number 5. I'm concerned they might lose in the first round. Come on, pump the brakes on that. Schroder said this. First off, it don't matter where we end up at. I believe at the end of the day, we want to make the playoffs, we want to win games, and we want to focus on us, what we do, and try to get better every game until everybody gets back. If everybody is there in a 7-game series, I'd put my money on us. You know what, Dennis Schroder, I agree with you, because I would put my money on the Lakers as well. When I look at this team, when they're fully healthy, with a starting lineup of Schroder, KCP, LeBron, Anthony Davis, and Andre Drummond. I think that's one of the most talented starting fives across the league, but also with those additions in terms of a health standpoint, it also makes that bench that much more dangerous for the Lakers. So a starting five that is both talented and well-rounded, a bench piece and bench rotation that is also deep, and also they have championship experience from a year ago. This is a team that can focus in, lock in. You already know LeBron James is going to lead this crew because he's one of the best winners of all time, and he'll do nothing short of anything to help his team win, especially when it comes playoff time. So Lakers, for me, the team to beat in the Western Conference when they are fully 100% healthy, because we saw what they were able to do last year with LeBron and AD. They were a magical combination as a 1-2 punch together. I think Frank Vogel also very underrated as a coach. I think some people should give him more credit. Yeah, he has a very talented team with two generational players in AD and LeBron, but Frank Vogel has also pushed the right buttons at certain times, and it is not easy to manage a team of superstars like the Lakers had last year, like the Lakers have this year. And Frank Vogel, after he was kind of shunned away from Indiana, he went down to Orlando for a little bit as well, if I'm not mistaken. A lot of people said, this guy can't coach. And when he was hired by the Lakers, they were like, what are you guys doing by making this move? Frank Vogel, I think, has actually redeemed himself and turned into a good NBA coach. So we talk about the Lakers in the present. We talk about the Lakers in the future. I think they're going to continue to round into form. This is what their next 5 games looks like. April 24th against the Dallas Mavericks. Then they're on the road against the Magic, on the road against the Washington Wizards. So 3 straight road games right there. And then they finally come home from that current road trip to take on the Sacramento Kings as well as the Houston Rockets. Lakers currently at 5th in the Western Conference right now. Look into your crystal ball. Look ahead with the NBA playoffs starting on May 22nd. Where do you think the Lakers are going to end up when it comes to their seeding? Comment below with a number and let me know. Let's get to the NBA playoff picture now. NBA regular season, the end of it inching closer and closer. Can you believe it? Time has just flown by so quickly. NBA regular season is going to wrap up on May 16th. And the NBA playoff format this year, very similar to how things shook out last year in the NBA bubble. The top 6 teams in each conference automatically make the playoffs, and the 7 through 10 seeds will qualify for a play-in tournament that starts on May 18th and wraps up on May 21st with the NBA playoffs starting on May 22nd. Let's break it down for you and kind of just pass along how this is going to work out with that NBA play-in tournament. So the number 7 and 8 seeds will play against one another. The winner of that game is then the number 7 seed. The loser of that matchup then plays the winner of the 9-10 matchup. That other game, it's a matchup between the number 9 and number 10 seed. The winner plays the 7-8 loser, and the loser of the 9-10 matchup is eliminated from the play-in tournament as well as NBA playoff contention. As things are looking in the Eastern Conference right now, Sixers, they own the tiebreaker with the Brooklyn Nets. They have the same record at 39-20. The Sixers are in first place in the Eastern Conference. They would play the number 8 seed. And that 4-5 matchup actually just happened the other night at Madison Square Garden, the Mecca. The Knicks and Hawks, 2 young, excelling, rising teams. That could be a really fun matchup. And then the 3-6 matchup, another intriguing one. If the season were to end today, as we record this on April 23rd, Bucks and Celtics in that 3-6 matchup, and the Nets would play the play-in to be determined team at that 7 spot. Other matchups to get to here in the Eastern Conference, Heat and Hornets would be the 7-8 matchup. Slated in that 9-10 matchup, the Pacers and the Wizards. The Wizards with Bradley Beal and Russell Westbrook climbing slowly up the Eastern Conference. They've sneakily been really good over the last couple of weeks, led by Bradley Beal and Russell Westbrook. If they get in, they are the ultimate make some noise play-in team. and the ultimate NBA League Pass team. Like if the Wizards are in the play-in tournament, I certainly want to watch it. Let's shift over to the Western Conference. The Utah Jazz, even without Donovan Mitchell, still holding on and clinging to the number 1 seed. They'd play the number 8 seed. Nuggets, Lakers as a 4-5 matchup. Nuggets 4-0 without Jamal Murray, who's out for the year because of that torn ACL. If LeBron and AD either aren't 100% or are out of the lineup, could we see an upset there? Possibly, but I think if the Lakers are healthy, they're certainly going to win that series. Clippers, Blazers in the 3-6 spot. Could Damian Lillard overtake and oust Kawhi Leonard and Paul George? The Clippers are a team that have had just so many choke artist-like games in the playoffs. They could be outed by a team like the Portland Trailblazers because Dame time and playoff time, very dangerous. And then the Phoenix Suns, right on the heels of the Utah Jazz at number 2 in the Western Conference. They will also play that play-in to be determined team in that 7 spot. And then let's round things out with the Mavericks and the Grizzlies in that play-in game at the 7-8 spot, and the Warriors and Spurs checking in at 9th and 10th place in the Western Conference. So that's how everything kind of stands with the playoff picture in the Eastern and Western Conference. As far as the playoff standings and Eastern Conference standings right now, this might be a little bit more visual for you. The 1 through 5 teams, Sixers in at first place, followed by the Nets, the Bucks, the Knicks, and the Hawks. And the Boston Celtics have dropped to the 6th spot at 32-27, followed by the struggling Miami Heat, the struggling Charlotte Hornets, the Indiana Pacers, and the Washington Wizards. Pivoting over to the Western Conference, the Jazz with a 2-game lead in the win column over the Phoenix Suns at 44-15. The Clippers in at 3rd place, followed by the Nuggets and the Lakers. Little bit of a gap there between the Nuggets with 38 wins and the Lakers at 35 wins, as well as the Lakers in the 5 spot to the Trailblazers in the 6th spot. About a 3-game difference there in the win column between those two teams. And then the rest of the Western Conference as follows: Mavericks, Grizzlies, Spurs, and Warriors. I'll tell you what, with the NBA playoffs less than a month away, really excited to see how everything shakes out with this NBA playoff picture, because there are a lot of teams who are going to jockey in different spots throughout the Eastern and the Western Conference. A lot to be decided, and you already know that we are going to be covering it ad nauseum here at Chat Sports, bringing you all of the latest across the NBA. So as Jeremy kind of gets ready to, shake things up a little bit as we continue to advance on NBA Now, there's a look at the Western Conference playoff standings right now. Appreciate all of you for watching us here on NBA Now by Chat Sports.